I'm Bill Grogan, President of the Planning Office for Urban Affairs, and the Planning Office is the social justice ministry of the Archdiocese of Boston. And we develop permanent, affordable housing where people can live with dignity and respect in the homes that they can afford. And our partner in this transaction is Cote Village, is a Caribbean Integration Community Development. And on behalf of Donald Alexis, the Executive Director, I want to thank you and welcome you for coming here to help us celebrate this important milestone. On a day like today, we're reminded of the importance of a home and that housing is a basic human right, especially among those who are most at risk or vulnerable. A home serves not only as a shelter from the elements, but also as a foundation in all aspects of life. Stable housing leads to healthy residents, which creates thriving communities. And that's why we're here today. As Mayor Walsh said earlier this week, housing is the biggest challenge facing our communities. The Planning Office has met that challenge and will continue to meet that challenge. Since 1969, we've created nearly 3,000 units of housing across Boston's metropolitan area. But we're not only a developer, we're also a community catalyst, striving to build partnerships and create connections in order to better serve the people most in need. Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor signed an economic development bill this past Friday called the Partnerships for Growth. And one of the themes of the bill was that we need to consider every community as the economy of Massachusetts grows. We all as a group have to realize that some communities are not receiving the support that others are. And we need to work together to provide access to housing and opportunity for all. And the Planning Office is committed to developing cross-sector partnerships in order to better serve the communities that we're in. And Cote Village is a great example of building partnerships for growth. This new affordable and workforce housing will provide 76 units, as well as commercial and community space. The project is located in one of Boston's fastest growing neighborhoods, and it's ideally located adjacent to public transportation. Behind us, we see the Blue Hill Avenue station, and I know a lot of us traveled that way to get here today. And the creation of this type of housing is critical to maintaining the city and the Commonwealth as a vibrant place to live. And with this groundbreaking, we are on our way to creating a place that families can call home and making Cote Village a thriving part of Mattapan. We're especially grateful to the Commonwealth, to the city, our funders, and our supporters who have made the development of Cote Village possible, and especially our partner at CICD. The groundbreaking for Cote Village represents an important step in our collective efforts to address the housing need in communities like Mattapan. Today will mark an amazing journey of collaboration and partnerships. Moving forward, we'll be continuing to work with our partners at CICD and plan to create at least 2 more affordable housing developments in Mattapan alone. And by focusing on this important area in Boston, we hope to increase affordable housing options as well as provide opportunity for growth to all. We're honored to have distinguished guests here this evening, especially Cardinal Sean O'Malley. We're very thankful for the support the Archdiocese has shown to the Planning Office and Cardinal Sean's commitment to our mission. I had the pleasure of sitting down with him recently, and we discussed our collective efforts to serve those in need. And we look forward to continuing this important work under his leadership. So please welcome Cardinal Sean O'Malley.
Thank you very much, and delighted to be here on such an important occasion. We're very grateful to Bill Grogan and to all of our people in the Archdiocesan Planning Office. I'm glad that Lisa has come back to be with us for this important occasion. Very gratified by the presence of our Lieutenant Governor and our Mayor and so many community leaders that have come here today. And a great merci en pile, Donald Alexis from the Caribbean Integration Development Corporation. And no, il faut parler créole, but being the wealthiest country in the world with 500,000 homeless people, half of them working, no one can deny the great challenge that is before us in providing decent housing for our people. And so this is one more effort along those lines. At Christmas time, our Savior was homeless at Bethlehem, but we can't be thinking about that just once a year. This is an ongoing challenge for us to build a more just society where people will have a decent place to live. And so we're very, very grateful for all of you who do so much to provide decent housing for our people. And now let us pray. The work we're beginning today should enliven our faith and make us grateful. We know the familiar words of the psalm, "If the Lord does not build a house, in vain do its builders labor." Whenever we look to the interests of our neighbor or the community and serve them, we are, in a sense, God's own co-workers. Let us pray for His help through this celebration, my brothers and sisters, that God will bring this construction to successful completion, and that His protection will keep those who work on it safe from injury. Let us pray. All-powerful and merciful Father, you have created all things through your Son and made Him the unshakable foundation of your kingdom. Through the gift of your eternal wisdom, grant that the undertaking we begin today for your glory and our own well-being may progress day by day to its successful completion through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Cardinal O'Malley, for those inspiring words. We've had such pleasure working with Caribbean Integration Community Development at CICD on Cote Village. I want to take this opportunity to ask Donald to come up and say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. So we have a full house. That really speaks to the commitment of this community, for this site. So thank you, everybody. So let's another round of applause for yourself. Today, I want to thank many members of the community that have been fighting for decades to turn Cote Ford to a community asset. We know this fight been happening since early 80s, and I'm glad today we have a different conversation. We're talking about now 76 affordable housing in perpetuity. So I think the fight was worth it. Thank you all. Along the way, so it's been tough, to say the least. From knocking doors on the weekend, numerous committee meetings, and a roller coaster when it comes to the funding. In Haitian Creole, there's this say, "Mean pile chai palou." Meaning like many hands make light work. So a lot of people here, you know who you are. I'm not gonna name names because I don't wanna forget one. So I wanna say, we did it. Yeah. And this will be your legacy due to your efforts. For me, I'm new to community development. To see what it takes to do a project like this, one thing this project convinced me is my passion for community development and make a career out of it. I want to end with a special thank you to Woodhaven Civic Association Group. To the Mattapan delegation, and also home, every time he sees me, he's like, "Are you going to build this? Are you going to build this?" For and the labor unions, Community Labor United, yeah. New England United for Justice. Zimber Consulting, and Lisa. Where's Lisa? Lisa. And all the state partners, the city, thank you guys. From the community, I want to tell you, we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. We're very pleased to have Mayor Marty Walsh join us today. Under Mayor Walsh's leadership, the city has been at the forefront of addressing our housing crisis. The mayor continues to be an advocate for more resources to support developments like Cote Village, as evidenced by a signing of a home rule petition earlier this week. At the signing, the mayor underscored the city's commitment to helping those who are most vulnerable and demonstrated that the city will continue to be a leader in this effort. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge Sheila Dillon and her tireless devotion and support, as well as her incredible staff. Chris, Kelly, Jessica, thank you. Please welcome Mayor Marty Walsh.
First of all, thank you. Sheila Dillon and her team deserve the round of applause they get. They're amazing. Jessica Boatwright, Kelly Shea, thank you very much. I want to thank the Cardinal for his support, his love and support for the most vulnerable in our city, in our Commonwealth. To the Lieutenant Governor, this is our third day in a row to be together. We're breaking ground and cutting ribbons on developments, all about helping people. I want to thank the governor who couldn't be with us today for his commitment, but the Lieutenant Governor, we said yesterday, we're former colleagues together. We served in the House of Representatives together. Thank you for your commitment. To Representative Russell Holmes and Representative Danny Cullinane, thank you for your tenacity and continuing to push forward. This is amazing. To City Council out there, Garrison is here. Thank you, Councilor Garrison, for being with us today. Father Jack Ahern, Donald, incredible. Again, just staying with it. Congratulations today. To Woodhaven Association, Lisa Dix, Biofields, and all the associate members, thank you for everyone here. I know there's a few activists in the room. Thank you, activists, as well. All right. I know there's a couple of you in the room. And it's great that the groundbreaking where we're working together and smiling and not fighting each other. So I love that. So thank you very much. Today we're breaking ground on projects that mean so much from the Mattapan community and for the entire city of Boston. We're creating beautiful new homes that will be affordable at a variety of income levels, something that we work to strive to every single day. We're adding commercial space that's going to bring economic development opportunities to the neighborhood. So when you think about a complete development, this is what this is. The city of Boston is certainly proud to support these developments. It's part of the commitment to keeping affordable housing and keeping our neighborhood strong, something that we fight at every day. All across our city, we're investing in affordable housing and using every single tool at our disposal. In the past, we could count on federal resources for affordable housing, but we can't do that anymore. It's up to us, it's up to the city, it's up to the state. We're getting creative and bringing partners together, and we're getting it done. Under the housing plan in the city of Boston, we've created 31,000 units, new homes, and a fifth of those are subsidized housing. That's since 2014. We're going to continue to move forward. We've maintained the highest rate of income subsidized affordable homes out of any city in the United States of America. And that's something that's really important when you think about it. And still, we're not building enough. So when you think about we're leading the country, but we're not building enough, there's something not right there, and we need to continue to move forward. For the first time, we're using city funds to renovate public housing, and we invested last year's budget. We're going to invest more this year. With the help of a lot of people in this room, we passed the Community Preservation Act. We work with the state. Thank you to the legislature and the governor for increasing that match and supporting that match, something that's really important. It's going to give us even more money this year. This week alone, we took two very big steps. We signed a home rule petition of a new real estate transfer fee that the city council voted on. It's in the legislature now, and yesterday I testified for inclusionary development and linkage, and we're working with the delegation and working with the governor and lieutenant governor to get that passed. This tax is not a tax vote. The legislature doesn't have to take a tax vote. All you're doing is giving us the ability in the city of Boston to do a tax itself. So we're working with you. We're also working with the governor on his piece of legislation that's pushing more low-income housing around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Housing Choice Bill. So we're working with the governor's office on that. We need to get that passed. So it's important that we continue to work together. And that's all mainly because we don't have a federal partner. And we need to be creative on how do we create these opportunities and fill these holes that are happening all over the Commonwealth, not just here in Boston, but throughout the entire Commonwealth. The value of all this work is clear. The Cote development are perfect examples of that. Soon this will be home to hardworking families, people who put their roots down here and follow their dreams and contribute to our city. This will be a strong community that honors the culture, the history, and the diversity of Mattapan and Boston, excuse me. It's important for us to understand that and give people opportunities. All over Mattapan, we're investing in things that matter to people. We're investing in our parks and playgrounds. In the Walker Playground, $600,000. In Harambee Park, $6.7 million. Odom Gardens, $550,000, and so much more. We're upgrading the Mattapan Community Center with about $2 million investment. We're making Blue Hill Ave safer for pedestrians, cyclists, and bikers. We're adding bike lanes and blue bike stations. It's a tongue twister. To Mattapan. And the beauty about it is that it wasn't asked to be put there. They put it there because they know that there's a need for it. And that's what's changing. It's not, Mattapan doesn't have to ask for things. People are like, wait a second, so let's go over here and see what's going on. Something that's important. We're pushing more frequent service on the Fairmont line to create a more reliable, equitable transit system. And we've had very good conversations with the general manager of the MBTA. As a matter of fact, he was with myself and Lieutenant Governor and the governor not too long ago down the street at Four Corner Station. Our planned Mattapan efforts are going on. We're engaging in thousands of residents, business, and community groups, and investing in what people want to see in their neighborhood. Housing is certainly one of the biggest focuses that we have in the area. We're going to keep investing in housing, working with families, and building the housing that families need the most. Again, I want to thank all the partners in this project. I want to thank the Archdiocese of Boston, the Caribbean Integration Community Development. I want to thank the legislature. I want to thank the State House. I want to thank the city. Together, when we work together, and this is proven time and time and time again, when we work together at the leadership with the community and the neighborhoods, we're able to get to incredible projects. And that's what we're talking about here. We're keeping our neighborhood strong for today and for generations to come. I want to thank Bank of America, and I want to thank the funders here as well for all the great work you do. I want to end by just saying, you know, as we head into the Christmas season, oftentimes, and we had a meeting the other day in the office, and we got a little testy in the meeting amongst ourselves. And we were talking about linkage and IDP and talking about all this thing. And we're talking about, we felt like this strain was coming down on us. And I started to think to myself that we don't celebrate days like this enough. And that's all of us collectively in this room. The people that are out there advocating every day, elected officials, we need to celebrate more because we are getting things done. And when we come together, it proves on time and time again. When we come together and we work together, we really get things done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And to continue the celebration, we're very appreciative that Lieutenant Governor is able to join us today. I was able to make it to the State House to watch the Governor and Lieutenant Governor sign the Partnerships for Growth bill. And the Lieutenant Governor underscored the need to create and improve opportunities for residents of all throughout the Commonwealth. And the state's commitment of resources to Cote Village is a great start to creating those new opportunities and possibilities. So please welcome Lieutenant Governor Polito.
So good afternoon. It is wonderful to be here with all of you to celebrate, as Mayor Walsh has stated. This is clearly a celebration for a whole host of reasons. First of all, I wanted to talk about the 3 Ps, that this is a priority project. The city and the mayor under his leadership have made affordable housing a priority in this city, and getting behind projects like this to make sure that the permitting is completed to allow these projects to even be constructed. So priority developments like this, permitted projects. Projects like this cannot become reality unless they are permitted through the process at City Hall. And then the 3rd P would be permanent. This is 76 permanent homes to residents of this community. permanent homes. I love this new neighborhood that will be established right here next to this commuter rail stop. This is fabulous. I remember last year coming at the groundbreaking and then the opening of this commuter rail stop and having in our minds the vision that this would be an opportunity for more housing at a transit stop so that people can actually come here to visit your neighborhood, the jobs and the opportunities that are here, but also for people of this neighborhood to connect to other parts of the city and other places in this Commonwealth. So it's truly a great success story. I'd also like to credit my partners in the legislature, Russell Holmes and Dan Cullinane, who's here, and I know Senator Collins, also a big advocate for housing. And the passage of the housing bond bill, $1.8 billion of capital in our bond bill. That's the largest bond bill that our Commonwealth has passed. And that bond bill contains a whole lot of resource, but without making housing a priority like you have in the city, and without permitted projects, we can't put that resource to use. So it's really important that we have all parts of this happen. But the $1.8 billion bond bill is a great opportunity to use those resources to see more of this done. The mayor also referenced the need to change and update our laws and regulations and local rules around zoning. And our housing choice bill would give more communities the opportunity to rethink ways to bring housing into their community that works for them. It could be a transit-oriented development. It could be a downtown development. It could be housing for older adults that want to stay in their community and are trying to find a way to afford to live in their community. It could be housing for students and young professionals that are just getting started. It could be housing for people who are homeless in our community to find a better place for them. It can be housing to end domestic violence and helping victims of violence break out of a cycle and able to find a safe place to live. Housing is a thing in every community of this Commonwealth, and housing is important to bring stability and safety and opportunity to individuals' lives, to family lives, to residents of this Commonwealth, to the next generation who want to call Massachusetts home. And in Massachusetts, unfortunately, housing is a crisis. We are a great state. We are growing. We have a lot of opportunity in this state, but it's not available to everyone. And without more housing, we will continue to see housing costs go up because it just won't be enough supply to meet the demand of people moving to this Commonwealth, people who want to stay in this Commonwealth, and children being born into this Commonwealth. We have the need for about 135,000 new units of housing to be in place, available by 2025. 2025 is right around the corner. We should be having ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings like this every single day to make more housing available to the people of this community and of this Commonwealth. So while today is a celebration, it clearly is a celebration that we know how to do this, right? When I looked at the resources that were available to this project, it was complex to figure out how to put all of these tax credits and resources into this bucket to make this project work, but you did it. You have smart people at Mass Housing Partnership and in all the partners to make this project happen. We know how to do it. We just need to now make sure we do more of it. I want to thank Undersecretary Chan for being here. She's going to talk a little bit more about her approach. I want to thank all of our partners, public, nonprofit, and private sector, including Bank of America, on the construction side of this project. So congratulations. I couldn't be at a better time to come together as we approach a wonderful holy time of year to celebrate housing and bringing more permanent housing to our neighborhoods and communities of our Commonwealth. Congratulations to all of you. Blessings for a wonderful holiday and a healthy start to the new year. Thank you.
As we all heard, the theme today is partnership. And we know those type of project doesn't happen with one person, with one group. It takes a whole village. And this is when I have the pleasure to bring one of our own, State Rep Dan Cullinane, a member of the Mattapan delegation, always there, always willing to pick up the phone to make a phone call on behalf of this project, always willing to work with us as a team to advance any issue we have. So please help me welcome State Dan Kolonen.
Thank you, Donald, so much. And I know everyone's been recognized, but this is such an incredible celebration for so many people that are in this room and for so many people that have put in literally decades of work to make this a reality. This building has been decaying and sitting empty for over 30 years. It's been a public safety risk. It's been an eyesore. And today, we couldn't be happier to say that this has been an intentional investment in affordable housing right here in our backyard in Mattapan. And that is so incredibly important to say, because on days like this when we're breaking ground or cutting a ribbon, it can seem so simple. It can seem like it was easy. It was a no-brainer. It was a walk in the park to get this done. And as Donald alluded to at the beginning, and as so many people sitting here know, that's never the case. So many people put in their blood and sweat and stops and starts, and how are we going to, as the Lieutenant Governor accurately, how are we going to put this equation together? Because when you see it on paper, you wouldn't believe it. But it comes to the point where, as a delegation, and under Mayor Walsh's leadership and under this administration's leadership, and with Rep. Holmes and Senator Collins and someone who deserves tremendous recognition, this is former Senator Linda Dorsina Forey, deserves a tremendous round of applause for making this a reality as well, is that this doesn't happen by accident. And so I want to talk about some deliverables local in addition to here, because I would honestly, to a person, put up the level of investment from public dollars in the city and state that have been invested in Mattapan over the last 6 to 7 years against any corner of the Commonwealth in terms of the level of investment. And so I want to share with you today some of those things, because I think these celebratory moments kind of exist in isolation. We're one project, then we quickly move to another, because there's so many things going on. But as a community here in Mattapan, I think we deserve to celebrate this victory lap. $118 million over the next 5 years being invested into the Mattapan trolley line to preserve that vital link to the Red Line. That's a success and a deliverable. Completion of this new Blue Hill Ave commuter rail station, that was $17 million. That's a deliverable. And I don't know if I can announce it, but I'm going to put it out there anyway because I've had conversations with the T, is that early to mid next year, a key piece of the legislation that we filed as a delegation is removing that last hurdle where you have to have 2 T passes, commuter rail and regular. You're going to be able to use your Charlie card on the commuter rail. That's a huge victory for this commuter rail. The construction of the Neponset Greenway, missing link. That project was over $15 million, and it was just named a great public place, top 6 great public place in the United States of America, right here in Mattapan with that greenway. That was an intentional investment. And as we talk about affordable housing, with today's announcement of this funding for Cody Ford, but also across the street at the Mattapan T-Lot, that's going to be 135 units and a $57 million investment to go with this 76 unit, $37 million investment. That's an incredible success. And then when we talk about things like the redesign of the Galvin Boulevard, Morton Street intersections and investment right here in the medians in the square, that's an incredible amount of city and state dollars going right into Mattapan intentionally for the people that call Mattapan home, the people that have put deep roots here, the people have made this community what it is today. And I just want the record to reflect for those that are covering this event, thank you, because there isn't a ton of coverage about these celebratory moments right here in Mattapan. And so when you look at everything that's going on in terms of the displacement conversation, which is real, a gentrification conversation, which is real and should be discussed, and as we try to address that with policy, I just want to direct people to the fact that with this Cody Ford lot and with the Mattapan T Station lot, the 2 lots that as a delegation and collectively as your delegation of elected officials, that we've been able to work with CICD and other Nuestra and POA and everyone else, that with those 2 lots that we've been able to work on together, we are delivering affordable housing to Mattapan. This isn't going market rate. So these resources should be celebrated, and I just am so honored to represent this community and this district and to play a small role with my colleagues in making sure that we celebrate this transformative investment in our community. And Donald, you've earned this one. This has been a hard road. Anyone that says it was any different is just making it up. And so thank you for sticking with us. Lisa, thank you so much to the administration and to the mayor. Thank you so much to the Archdiocese. Thank you so much. Building affordable housing is a foundational right for people, and we need to build more of it. And doing the right thing is a choice, but what we're showing with these two projects is that affordable housing in our community is possible when we all work together. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Cullinan. Another great affordable housing advocate is State Representative Russell Holmes. Representative Holmes has been a longstanding supporter and believer in Cote Village, and we look forward to continuing to work with him to increase housing opportunities in Mattapan. Please welcome Representative Russell Holmes.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed great to see such a large room. So, at the risk of naming names, because Donald didn't, I'm going to begin by just naming some, because I believe it's a must. So, to the mayor's point, we really are thankful for all the Woodhaven folks and for all the community. But we began this project really in earnest 10 years ago or so, and there were a lot of folks who were on the road that time that are no longer here in this struggle. So I just want to name some of them. The Mattapan CDC, the Mattapan Board of Trade, both Steve and Stu. It was great to have the Mattapan United folks all along the way. And then I'm going to start to name some names. Barbara Fields, Barbara Critchlow, Lily Searcy, Lisa Gutscott, Miss Parks, and of course, Mr. Parks, Miss Lakehart, Miss Katie Days right here, Lisa Dix, Miss Kagler. There were so many folks that when you come to a day like this and they're not here, you actually forget the roles that Woodhaven, Culvert, and all of those meetings that we went through. I remember it's hard or it's inextricable to not link whatever happens at this train station to also at Cote Village. To have Duvall over here in Mitz Phil's living room having a conversation about how on earth do we not make all of the placement concerns that they had from parking and all the other things. And so you think of Senator Docino Fori, which Dan mentioned, but you also had Jack Hart, Rob Casalvo. You think of the entire delegation has changed, and all of those folks, some of us agreed on some things, some of us didn't, but we struggled all along the way. And I want to also just recognize some of the clergy, all the folks at Jubilee, Matt today, but his dad, Bishop Thompson, Thomas over at the Church of Christ, Pastor Zanetta, Pastor Dickinson, Borders. And I want to give a shout out to really two folks who definitely are not here, but they are absolute thorns on my side many times, but George Lopes, with making sure we figure out what happens about this parking. Do not build over here and not make sure we have the parking. And also Boys and Girls Club. I say that because when Cody initially presented their presentation over at Mildred Ave, the Boys and Girls Club was a part of the solution. That didn't end up being a part of the final solution, but it did show it from the beginning, the commitment to the community that CICD and the team wanted to make sure that they reinforced. And so I say all those names because every time is a challenge, it actually makes things better. All the folks who push us and prod us to say, what about this, what about that, it ends up with a better solution. To Dan's point, it looks like it's simple when we finally get here to a solution, but it was hard all along the way. So growing up in the neighborhood, that's what the train did my whole life. That's what it did my whole life, right there. And to have it so that we have a tough conversation about that train needs to stop and not just run through our neighborhood is an important part of this conversation. So all of the challenges make things better. We have a track that the podium now sits in the middle instead of on the ends, which is what so many folks were worried about what's going to happen to their foundations and things of that nature. We have these units being affordable instead of market. There were clearly some presentations that were 100% market. We're going to get the minimum that's required, the 13%, but they want to have, instead of 13%, 100% of them affordable. And to really have a neighborhood train station, which was part of the conversation. We were absolutely willing to build and build out that lot. But the neighborhood said, wait a minute, we don't want a train station that feels, or a development that feels more like a commuter station. We want folks to be able to walk over to the train station, and that is just really so important. So that was one. Just thank you all of those folks, and I apologize for anyone I did miss. Second thing most important now in here is, why is it important to me? As mentioned, I grew up here. So literally I grew up at 27 Rockdale, one street over. And I walk to the end of Rockdale, take a look at Cody Ford, to Dan's point. I can't remember, I graduated in '87 from high school, I think 5-10 years before that. So I must have been in middle school when I saw something actually physically here and actually running. And so we're talking about 35 plus years. And to go from really thinking about just the development that has happened, or lack of development that has happened here, Donald, for 35 years, you think about what it means to this community, a community that so often you touched on it, Dan, but you didn't finish. The media loves to portray this community very different than who we are, it's always so surprising to me when I would hear something on the media, and even in our communities, about what we sometimes call, not me, but what some folks call Mattapan. I get astonished, really astonished, that all of these folks, some of these that I named, they help to make me. They help to make really a community that is really so solid, but then when you hear about it on the news, it is just so different than what's being portrayed. So it is great to see them here. I remember on days like today, Mr. Evans, like what I mean by a community that makes you, my first job was up at Brigham's, 14 and a half, working up there at Brigham's. And to have it so that, to grow up seeing, obviously, the counselors and the mayors come in to talk to the Mattapan Board of Trade and Mr. E, obviously still has an impact on me. So I purchased my home some years ago when it was time for me to come back. And I thought initially that the right thing to do was to just do some of these things that we've been fighting on, 28X. What are we going to do about Mattapan Economic Development Initiative? And so when you say, let's think about where we are, where we've been, I pulled out the old MEDI plan about a month ago or so, and realized that a lot of the things we're talking about in Plan Mattapan are some of the same conversations we were having 12, 15 years ago. And you look at all the progress we have made in the last 12 or 15 years, and it's so great that Marty, I do that all the time, it's so great that the mayor has commissioned a new plan, because so much of the things that we were demanding in the MEDI were, hey, we need a Mattapan Square main streets, we need a train station, we need some zoning changes. So many of those things, quite frankly, have been accomplished. And it is time for us to take the next moment to say, where do we go from here? And the Plan Mattapan solution is so right. So I'm going to end with just simply saying, Dan, you are absolutely correct. When I think about when I got elected 10 years ago, some of the things that were in that very bad moment. We were in a downturn after 2008. There was a thing where I heard a commercial that we were challenged with, when we think back to this moment, will we think back to this moment as the Great Recession or the recession that made us great? And I think about all the decisions we have made to make this be a thought in our minds around a recession and a depression, or almost a depression, that made us make some very challenging decisions around federal, city, and state, and making these decisions that are hard now for as we move forward. So thank you, community, for all that you've put into me. Every single day, I'm trying my best to give back to you, and the entire delegation feels the exact same way. And so I just want to deviate from what the schedule says, because the senator showed up, and I'm going to now bring up the senator. And just one of my great teammates as we continue to do great things here in Mattapan. Thank you so much.
I hope someone got that last part on video. going to have to use that next year, Russell. But thank you, Representative Holmes, to Donald, Alexis, to the Cardinal and the team at Planning Office of Urban Affairs, to the Mayor, Lieutenant Governor, and all of the leadership here today, and particularly to the community who stuck with this project. I remember as a state representative, hearing from Rep. Cullinane and Rep. Holmes, and then Senator Forey about this project and how important it was to the community, and how, where cycles had seemed to bypass it, but the steady commitment from Donald and his team made sure it happened today. It's a great model of transit-oriented housing here in the city, and I want to commend the mayor for his leadership. And where I think today in the Globe highlighted some other opportunities that we should continue to pursue as we're dealing with this challenging crisis of housing. And I want to commend the Baker and Polito administration for their leadership on their housing choice bill, and maybe temporarily is a way around that by building on T property, not subject to local zoning, in those suburban communities that don't want affordable housing. So transit-oriented housing. But I'm honored to be here as a state senator for this district, working in tandem with Representative Holmes, Representative Cullinane, the mayor, and the lieutenant governor and the leadership team that's committed to more housing and more affordable housing. No clearer signal than what they're doing with the winnings, so to speak. Just earlier this year, I know there's been some consternation about the GE plan, but what they did with the proceeds there, $86 million into affordable housing in the city. I know at the advocacy, particularly of the Black and Latino caucus in the Massachusetts legislature as well. So it's a great signal of a partnership here in the city and in Massachusetts, and where we're going to continue to lead the way. Thank you all for giving me a few minutes to share my sentiments. I know everyone's excited to get going here. So Merry Christmas to you and your families. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Collins. Under Undersecretary Janelle Chan's leadership, DHED has continued to prioritize investments in communities like Mattapan, and DHED continues to play a pivotal role in the development of increased housing opportunities for those most at risk. So please welcome Undersecretary Janelle Chan. Thank you.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for joining us today, and thank you to Bill, and congratulations to Donald for getting to the groundbreaking. I know it's a long process to get out here, and we were rooting for you the whole way. We got dollars in this project. We want to see it coming to fruition. So I also want to take this time to thank Representative Holmes for your leadership, and I haven't said this in public, but thank you for helping us get through with CHAMP, our one-stop shop and wait list for public housing. And that's really about helping folks access all of our public housing throughout our Commonwealth. And that's what this is about. It's about access, right? We talk about homes. It's access to opportunities, right? We want to make sure it's transparent, that we democratize the system, that everyone knows what are the opportunities out there for public housing. And this project is about access to good jobs that a community rail is bringing you to in the neighborhood as well, good housing, quality housing that is in the neighborhood. This is what this project is about, right? Access to a good community, to have that safety net. And so this really respects and really responds to the values that DHCD holds for all the projects that we are funding. And so there's this article today in the Boston Globe about transit-oriented development, right? About if we were able to build 10 units within half a mile of all of our transit station, we would have 250,000 new units of housing. So we don't have, I'm speaking to a choir here, right? Boston's doing the right thing. Boston knows that how important it is to build housing. And so Lieutenant Governor was talking about our housing choice bill. Well, this bill doesn't apply to Boston, but it impacts Boston. It's asking everybody else to do the same thing, right? It's for us as a state not to hold municipalities back from realizing their needs and actualizing and responding to their needs of housing, and also to build for their aspirations. That's what this bill is about. It's, again, expanding access throughout and lessening a bit of that pressure on housing in Boston, okay? So, and with this project, this project now, I'm going to talk about the impact of it. It's great in the sense that it's a mixed income. I'm not going to say workforce because I grew up, I learned that I grew up in a low income family, right? But I would never tell my parents they were not working, right? They're a workforce. So I know that these are hard working families that this project is going to be supporting. This project, 15% of the homes are going to folks who are transitioning out of homelessness, right? That's important. That is so significant. And this project is also near so many neighborhood amenities and the neighborhood, the community itself. That is an asset that we don't talk enough about. So we are proud as DHCD to support this project. So in closing, I want to thank Senator Collins. I want to thank Representative Cullinane and Representative Holmes for your support and your partnership in this project. Congratulations. I look forward to coming to the ribbon cutting.
Thank you very much, Janelle. I also want to acknowledge the role of the Community Economic Development Assistance Corporation in providing pre-development loan support, which enabled the project to move forward in its early stages and get to a closing. So thank you, Roger and Will, for your commitment to Cote Village in this neighborhood. Now I'm pleased to introduce Mark Teeden from Mass Housing. We're grateful for the Mass Housing team and the commitment to resources and the longstanding relationship that we have with you. Please welcome Mark Teeden. Thank you, Mark.
I'm well aware that I'm last, so I'm 90 seconds and out, just so everybody knows. It is an honor to be here today. So many thanks and congratulations have been bestowed on so many. This is a great project. To see this piece of land reintegrated back into the city, into the fabric of the city, is very rewarding from our point of view. And the impact of this development will be felt not only by the 76 families, but well beyond that, in immeasurable ways in terms of an increased sense of community vibrancy as a result of these homes. So many worked for so long on this project, and I'd like to thank Mayor Walsh and his team at D&D for their long-standing patience and persistence. Also the Baker Polito administration's commitment to housing that helped set the stage for all of this work to occur. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Undersecretary Chan and your team at DHCD, at least 6 sources of program funds into this project, gracefully and expertly put in no small feat, and we recognize that and appreciate it. To the Archdiocese, to the Planning Office, Bill, your team, fabulous. Donald, if you picked this one to be your first project, I hope you stay in the business. I understand we are talking to you. This is your first project in a mass housing portfolio. We're delighted with that, and I hope to be talking to you more and more about that in future years. So thank you again, everyone who has worked hard on this project, including our finance partners at Bank of America, and thank you also for the time for me to express Mass Housing's appreciation to participate with all of you in this project.
Thank you, Mark. And of course, with great teams and great development, you need great financing partners. And we're fortunate to have such a strong, committed relationship with Bank of America, who have supported our work with over $325 million in loans and investments over the last 20 years, which is a testament to their commitment to investment in communities like Mattapan. So I'd like to welcome Mihal Chamberlain to come up and say a few words. Thank you, Mihal.
Thanks, Bill. I guess I am playing cleanup, Mark. It's well, everyone wants to get their shovels and hard hats, but I just want to, first of all, I'll keep it short. 3 quick things. One, congratulations for everyone, to everyone who came together to make this a reality. It's going to do unbelievable things for this neighborhood, and we're proud to be part of it. I also want to thank our longstanding partners, Bill and Pua, with PUA. We've done tremendous things in the city. We're going to do more. And our first-time partner here with Donald and CICD, we look forward to more projects. Second, it takes both the public and private. We heard from everyone today what it takes to get a project like this done. It takes the hard work of the representatives, the Senate, it takes the mayor, it takes the governor, and it does take financing. And at Bank of America, we've been, since 2000,
We have done more than a dozen projects. We've committed $200 million in financing loans to get these projects done, as well as $120 million in tax credit equity, and it's resulted in over 700 affordable housing units throughout the state. So there's a lot more to do, as you heard from the mayor, and we're going to be here alongside you to do it because we know how important it is to you. So look to us as a partner in the future. And I'd say finally, we also want to help these people get into the houses by making their mortgages more affordable. And we're creating some products right now for low and moderate income communities to access housing, because we know it's important to build your families, to build a community, and to have a successful life. So thank you, everybody. Happy holidays, and look forward to the groundbreaking.
Thank you, Mihal. I'd like to take this time to thank and acknowledge all of the incredible staff of the Planning Office, especially Nissa, who helped coordinate and organize this wonderful event, Liz, who helped close on the financing, Celeste, Mike, Amaryllis, Dan, Deb. We could not do this important work without your commitment, so thank you very much. I would also like to acknowledge Lisa Alberghini, POUA's past president, who was a main driving force behind Cote Village for the last several years. So, Lisa, thank you for all of your work and support. And finally, thanks to our project team members, Davis Square Associates, Built Right, Nixon Peabody, Schwarzschild, the list goes on and on. Really incredibly important to be here, Beverly Johnson, and all of your support. Without your work here, we wouldn't be able to have this exciting event. And so now for the fun part. We can have all of the event speakers and project members step outside to the tent. We'll have a groundbreaking, throw some dirt, and then we can enjoy some refreshments donated by Rich Brothers. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone coming out.